Hi everybody, this is Matt from Trailbreak.net. I wanted to bring you a quick video today to just explain how a measures graph works. And today I'm looking at the AIM Race Studio 2 software, but this applies to any software that you're going to be using. Is when we pull up these squiggly lines, and sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating, there's some basic things that we look at. And the first one is when we look across the bottom of the graph. This is the x-axis, and we see it says 0, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. That tells us that it's in distance mode, and that gives us feet from start finish. So if we paste off 1,000 feet from start finish, this is the value of whatever the next measure is. On the y-axis, the up and down, on this graph we see its speed, and it tells us the speed the car was doing. So where 1,000 feet intersects with the speed graph, it gives us the speed. And in most software, and especially the AIM Race Studio 2 analysis, we see the value up here. The car was doing 63.6 miles an hour there. And we can do that at any point in the software. It tells us what it is. So while the squiggly lines can look a little confusing, once we understand the basics of how it works, it lets us to analyze that data. So we have distance from start finish across the bottom, and we have speed. And if we change what we're looking at to something like lateral acceleration, we still have distance across the bottom from start finish, and we have the lateral acceleration, how hard the car's turning and how hard you're being pushed into the bolsters on the seat. And we see here that at 1,000 feet, we could say it was doing 0.44 Gs. So that's how we read this graph on any of them. The only variance, and it's something that tricks people sometimes, is we can look at things in time mode. We don't do this very often. Sometimes it's good for engine health kind of things, but in the performance of how we're driving, we don't look at it very often this way. And the key to seeing that we're in time mode is when we look at the bottom, we see timestamps, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and so on. And that tells us this is time mode, not distance. And in a later video, we'll talk about why it's important to compare laps in time or distance and why we do that. But our standard mode that we're going to use 99% of the time is distance, and it's what most of your software is going to give you by default. I hope this helps you out. If you have questions or anything, please send them in or comment on it. And if you have the need for some more information, just let me know. Have